Joining us in a few seconds, but
we'll throw him on.
Yeah, we'll throw him on.
Well, Cito, happy Thursday. It's good to see you in these parts again.
Thanks. Yeah, you too. I think, let's see if we're live.
Good to see you in these parts.
Yeah, we are live. New episode, the third one or fourth one, I don't even know when we start counting, but things are going. Oh, our fourth guest is here. I was about to say that he's a bit late.
There he is. We got a Sistla.
There we go. Very nice setup here. The NFT dream team in the Cosmos space, and of course Jack, my co-host. Jack, how's it going?
Good, man. Where in the world is Cryptocito today?
I'm actually in Playa del Carmen today because a friend is visiting. So
bellissimo.
See,
I think every time I talk to you, you're in like a different place. you just travel the world doing all these shows, I guess.
Playa del Carmen is beautiful. Yeah. How's the weather?
I mean, it's windy here, so. But besides that, obviously, it's beautiful. I just came last night, and I didn't really get time to check out the beach. But honestly, this has been one of my main motivations to get out of this because before I got into crypto, I was working in a traditional company and but just to be able to travel the world and in 2 weeks I'm in Denver. I hope I meet some of you guys there and get to a crypto conference. Just have the time to do these things. That's been one of my biggest motivations. So.
It's awesome and it's cool to see you traveling. I also got into remote development so that I could go travel, and it's funny, I've ended up living at home quite a bit because I that's kind of what I like. I do like traveling, but I haven't done enough of it over the last couple of years. Shane, Sistla, how's it going, guys?
It's going great. Yeah, Shane, please.
Yeah, it's going good. It's a rainy day in New York today, so it's a good day to kind of stay in and get some work done.
Always. So I have a number of questions for you guys. One person asks, I do want to address this real quick because it's very topical. Can Jack explain a bit about the wormhole disaster and why such things can't happen in the IBC network? The answer here is complicated, and it's a little bit long. So there's a few pieces here, but the core of it comes down to is that Cosmos is built always with security in mind. There's this distributed systems trade-off where it's safety versus liveness. And, one of the things that was always said over and over again at the beginning in the engineering organization was pick safety over liveness every time. If the system has to go down to preserve safety, preserve safety. And we've done a lot of work as an ecosystem on formal verification. We've done a lot of work on the ecosystem in sort of collaborative auditing and sort of trying to break the various systems that we build. We've brought in a lot of people from outside of the ecosystem to do this. And I think that combination of sort of not only excellent engineering, but also excellent engineering practices is one of the huge things that sets Cosmos apart. We built with programmers in mind. If you've ever used Solana and tried to program a Solana contract, it's extremely difficult. There's a lot of easy ways to make mistakes. In the Cosmos SDK, if you make a mistake, your program doesn't work. And it's very explicit to see when you're moving tokens around. And those areas are really easy to audit and easy as a programmer to write. That is extremely different from the programming model in Solana and also in Solidity, I will mention. So I think as to why can't these things happen in the IBC network, I think they're drastically less likely to happen in the IBC network because of the engineering work we put in and because of the engineering culture we built here. And that's what sets IBC apart from all of these other bridging technologies. There's no key anywhere for a multi-sig. There's none of that. There is the security of the other chain that you're working against is what determines the security of the IBC bridge. And that is fundamentally different from all of the other bridging technologies out there. It's what sets IBC apart, and it's what's going to prevent these types of hacks from happening. So, cool. Sistla, Shane, Crypto, did I do a good job of explaining that?
Yeah, I think you did a great job explaining that. But I just want to add on what you said. I think this is one of the reasons why I'm building in Cosmos. I was attracted to Cosmos is because of the rigor in engineering, right? Like building on a blockchain is not like in the Web 2 world where you move fast and break things. Because if you try to move too fast in this space, you lose people's money, right? So that's something you really have to be concerned about, and just such attention to detail at the fundamental architectural level is what really attracted me to kind of build in this space. And now we're in a kind of a position where everyone's moving a little faster, and we all have to be a little more careful about stuff like, you know, make sure we all run test nets and all that kind of stuff. And you know, both of you guys have been really good at that. But it's a challenge, you know. It's a challenge balancing moving really fast and also, you know, making sure everything's secure.
Yeah. Sistla, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, personally, I do think we're building in the Cosmos space because at an architecture level, it is completely different from some of the other chains out there. You know, the nature of it being sovereign or the way in which the bridging technology, which is IBC, primarily works, right? And you know, we are not like holding ransom funds anywhere, or you know, in a bridge specifically. And at max, I believe that the routing, you know, the relayer might be ineffective, and you know, routing might be cancelled, but your tokens are not lost in that sense, right? So yeah, Cosmos as an architecture is fundamentally different, and we believe, you know, we are pretty glad to be involved in the space and see the growth, you know, firsthand. And now we are seeing a lot of people experience this and realize that, and feels always happy.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, we have moved really slowly for a long time so that we can run fast now. In the Navy SEALs, they have a saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And like, that is absolutely what we have sort of ascribed to from an engineering philosophy here in Cosmos for a long time. And it's why you see so much happening right now, is we've built these incredible rails that allow us to just float along them. And, you know, have the time and energy to build things in a sustainable and secure way while still shipping a ton of features. It takes a long time to build that substrate in that sort of base, and we've built it. So with that in mind, Sizzle and Shane, I have the same question for both of you. And like, Shane was here first, so I'm gonna ask Shane, when Stargaze, like, how's things going with you?
Yeah. So when Stargaze, so our initial plan was to launch an NFT marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that was the more immediate plan. It was Stargaze evolved over a course of like 2 years or so, but I've talked about that in other places, so I won't get into that now. But our initial, more recent plan was to launch the marketplace, and when we were working on that, you know, we did this fairly large airdrop. I think the time we did it, it was like worth like 150 million, and this huge community kind of sprung out from that. And we have NFT artists that have done drops on like Solana, you know, on Ethereum and Terra, and a lot of them are very, very excited about Stargaze, and they're telling us exactly what they want, which is pretty awesome. Is like a great place to be in. So they're, you know, the community is really kind of driving this and kind of helping us out with product. And what a lot of them are telling us is that they don't have any like minting tools, and you know, they want to use stuff that they're familiar with. And so we kind of changed our plans a little bit to not just be a marketplace, but also be a launch pad. So what we're doing right now is that we're working on a bunch of minting tools, and we're doing this thing called Genesis Mint on March 2nd, which is going to be pretty much like the opening day of the launch pad. And we're going to select a bunch of projects to kind of launch on that day.
Oh, Shane, dates, you're excited. This is big news.
So yeah, working kind of towards that. And you know, ideally we want this whole selection process to be done by a DAO. But you know, that's not ready yet. So initially the team is kind of selecting projects, and then eventually this stuff will be a lot more kind of automated and community run.
I feel like DAO is going to be a huge part of the solution to making this run by a DAO, right?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
that's exciting. So now we know when Stargaze. Sistla, when Omniflex?
Unfortunately, we don't have a date yet, but it'll be pretty soon. Now that the products are tested in some way, we're quite confident on the app side of things and on the protocol side of things. We just have to bootstrap everything else around it. So yeah, and Shane, congrats on the awesome list of projects that you have ready for Genesis Mint. So perfect, all kinds of projects, being involved. And of course, we're part of the Stargaze Discord and comms too. So, there are a lot of things that Shane and Jake did before with Juno that I personally think has helped them work with Cosmos quite a lot. Now with DAO, multi-sigs, of course, I mean, we at some capacity, if there were no minting tools or infrastructure, we wanted to deploy a contract, a governance authorized contract on Stargaze, and then facilitate minting from OmniFlix Studio. Eventually, we'll make accommodate that in the roadmap. But now that you're building, I don't think it is needed right away. So yeah, OmniFlix hopefully just Cryptocito also tweeted the other day. We'll most likely launch this month, date pending, but there'll be a lot of activity this month. So, February is key for us.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's really exciting. Yeah, you mentioned Shane sort of and his team building up their Cosmwasm chops on Juno. That's been incredibly fun to watch. And also, Stargaze, I think, has probably the most talented group of Cosmwasm devs out there right now. You guys have much more deep experience in that particular platform than anyone else I know of.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I just want to say, like, Sistla, like the tools that you guys built for staking and governance, like that's, so many projects are using that, and it's just super, super helpful because right now, they're like before that happened, there wasn't too many like kind of third-party tools that people can just deploy and chains can start using. So that was awesome. But yeah, I mean, getting back to Cosmwasm, to me, it's like awesome to see its adoption, right? I was part of the original team that kind of, with like Jihan and Ethan Frey that kind of came up with the project, and it's just like,
can we talk about that story for a minute? Because that's a wild story.
Yeah, that was like a hackathon in 2019 in Berlin. Right. And we were like, the team was working on like 3 different things. It was like Cosmwasm, and then like key management and like the groups module. And just out of that, like the few people on that one team, like those projects like really took off.
Yeah.
And
it's, I mean, you guys like that was Stargaze, Confio, and Regen Network. And like that, the most legendary hackathon project I've ever seen. Just like, and birth Juno, basically, like just wild.
Everything else,
yeah.
What was exactly the hackathon project? Because like everyone remembers Cosmwasm, but like, wasn't it like a beta of the Regen project, basically?
Yeah, like the groups module.
Yeah,
and Pedro was also from, Wallet Connect was also involved in the project, and he worked on the front end. So yeah, little parts of Regen, little parts of Stargaze, and Cosmwasm just all came out of that.
Just wild, wild.
I think for the audience it would be nice because Shane was already on, so we have a little bit of context on him. But especially for Sistla, if you can just share a little bit of like background, what you guys did in Cosmos before starting Omniflix and Stargaze respectively. So just so we have a bigger, better context here.
Sure, definitely. So we've started working with blockchain, after our previous experience where we were like tech guys at a media company, and then we moved on to working with open source projects. And it was initially, blockchain was primarily around finance, but we still chose infrastructure. So we were one of the first teams to be able to contribute to Sentinel and some of the other projects as well within the Cosmos ecosystem that are out there live now. And since then, since about early 2017, we started working with Ethereum, but then early 2018, we realized that, things with Ethereum infrastructure, serving and especially Sentinel couldn't work, with Ethereum the way it's supposed to. Hence, that architecture started getting explored by the teams, multiple teams that were involved. And since then, we were till about 2021, we were responsible to be able to work with about 4 to 6 chains, direct or indirect capacity, to be able to launch. And since 2018, we started working on the infrastructure that is now Omniflix. So we started working on the media tech, on the app layer, as well as on primarily on the blockchain protocol. So with Game of Zones, Jack knows the story, but with Game of Zones, our vision started to translate, and that was the first implementation where we built like 2 marketplaces, so on and so forth. So yeah, that was how we started Omniflix. And today, from I think last Jan 13th, we had unified demo day. So where we had sommelier. Yeah,
that's right, we did. I keep forgetting about Unify.
Yeah, exactly. Where we had like almost everyone, like a lot of the projects present. Today, 1 year later, they're all like, I think, we are the only ones that didn't launch. Everyone launched, save, a lot of people launched. So, that is, from 2021 Jan, it was like full on core content. Not core as in, but deeply involved in the Cosmos ecosystem, building apps, interactive videos, and so on and so forth, while also building the tech required for Omniflix.
Sistla, I don't know if you've talked about this publicly before, but your team has been building media tech for like 10 to 15 years, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So like Sizzle's team, if you guys don't know, has a background building like huge content management systems for massive amounts of video for Bollywood. And, there's a lot of kind of unique challenges to the Indian market that make this kind of technology translate well to the global market. India has tons and tons of different languages, so there's a lot of different content that needs to be translated between different languages. There's many different genres of film that are produced there, and it basically all of the things that you need to serve the Indian market, you need to serve the global market. And this is one of the reasons why I've always thought with Sistla, they're building over at Omniflix is kind of unique in the space. It's this team that has deep experience building these giant CMSs for huge customers, and then taking that and translating that into blockchain and giving that directly to creators. I'm really excited for what you guys are working on, Sistla.
I think Sistla is the most underrated Cosmos builder in the space, and people are only now like soon. Shane as well, but now we're seeing what's coming out with Stargaze. You're getting traction, and Sistla is still a hidden gem. So everyone is
the team is doing it all. I'm just
no, that's what they say, but that's not true. And I've been working with Sistla on Cosmoverse. He did so much for the conference, like in the background that nobody saw, right? And just like the speed and the quality and how you guys work and deliver is absolutely amazing, even in your team. So I'm really excited for what's coming with Omniflix. And then Shane, can you share a little bit also more about your kind of like what you did? You already teased a little bit prior to Stargaze in the Cosmos ecosystem.
Oh, this is a good one too.
Yeah, this is quite a long story, but before Stargaze, the first kind of Cosmos project I worked on, I was at True Story, and True Story was one of the earliest teams to kind of build on the SDK. The SDK didn't even have the module system yet. It was still it was very, very kind of early days.
That was so rough. So rough. I you guys, I couldn't believe you guys actually built a usable app on that. It was insane.
Yeah, it was crazy. We didn't have, there was no Cosm.js or anything, so we had to build all these front end tools and stuff like that, and we were moving kind of fast, and we were doing migrations on test nets and stuff like that. Pretty early on before there was really any tooling for it. But the thing with True Story is that it was just way too early. It was good, Osmosis wasn't there yet. There was no DEX yet. there was like no clarity on like how to really launch a token, and we
IBC
didn't really
wasn't there yet.
yeah, IBC wasn't there yet, and we didn't really want to do like a IEO or whatever it's called, and on like Binance or whatever, and you know, so that's kind of what happened with True Story. It was kind of like this protocol where people can vote on kind of what side of a news story they kind of fit in, and they can kind of stake on if they think it's like true or false. You know, everything that you know, I'm kind of I've always been interested in the consumer space. I've been building like iPhone apps for a very long time, and you know, that's the kind of stuff I wanted to build on Cosmos, and at that time it was just too early for that.
Also, NFTs hadn't happened yet. This whole like culture around blockchain thing, like you were early on that, and you're like, how do I do this? And I've watched you as an entrepreneur like for years, like struggle with this, and like you guys building one of the first NFT platforms like Cosmos, it's like that makes so much sense. Like that is definitely what Shane should be doing. So like it's awesome to see Stargaze take off right now.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, the focus on NFTs kind of organically happened. You know, it wasn't like we're like, oh, NFTs are hot, we should like build NFTs.
No.
You know, it was more like we were building this kind of like social thing, and then we realized that, oh, for this to work, you need content. And then what's the native content type? Oh, it's NFTs. Okay, so we need to focus on this and really kind of get this out before we can add anything extra to it.
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting the way you kind of got there. It makes you unique, I think, among some of the NFT founders. Like, I don't know anyone else who took this route from like social into NFTs, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah, you kind of have to take things step by step and look at the market, look at the community, see where the people are, and kind of align everything and kind of build that way. Like getting the timing right is really kind of critical in these systems.
Yeah.
Yeah. One question that I mean, NFTs in the Cosmos ecosystem are quite different to NFTs on Ethereum, for example, right, or on Solana. Before we jump into Atom and the Cosmos Hub and your guys' views on that, can you talk a little bit about how far we are away from interoperable, you know, IBC-enabled NFT transfers, and that you can mint on different chains and you can just send it back and forth smoothly? How far are we away from that, and are there still any like technical challenges that like fundamentally need to be resolved?
I'm going to go ahead and say there's no fundamental technical challenges, and the two founders who are going to do the first interoperable NFT things are sitting on this screen right now. Guys, I do have to jump a little early today, so I'm really sorry, but I hope you guys keep this conversation going, because there's a lot of great questions in the chat, and Sizzle and Shane are two of the best out there. I got to go make this IBC DAO thing happen. Wish me luck. And I'll catch you guys in a bit.
Before you go, any alpha on that IBC DAO thing, or too early?
It's too early. I want to share it, but I can't. When I can share it, you guys will be the first to know.
You need
Cryptocito. I'll hit you up. This is like a pivotal week for this. We've got a lot of pieces are kind of coming into place, and like we're gonna get this thing done. But as soon as I have something to announce, Cryptocito, I'm going to hit you up, and we're going to go live, and we're going to make it happen. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Later.
All right. Take care, man.
Yeah. Cryptocito always trying to extract alpha for his audience.
I have to. I can't let it go like that.
Shane, please go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you to go ahead, because you guys already did a demo with IBC and NFTs, right? So why don't you go ahead and I'll.
So there are multiple approaches. So it's twofold, right? Like one between other Cosmos, chains, sovereign chains, SDK-based chains. So if this is like the first thing, there are still, some challenges around standardization, which a lot of people might be aware of at the moment. But at the same time, we had Iris and some of the others also achieved this. They've moved NFTs from like one of the SDK-based chains through multiple other chains to Ethereum. So that happened. So it is not a challenge for it to happen, but can it consistently happen? Can the model scale? Is the architecture right, to be able to, get high value NFTs, from Ethereum, or like mint high value NFTs here. So there are some, current challenges around standardization, I believe. Then being able to also derive the right standard, which might not be universal, right? Like there might be, like as Shane also believes in some sense, NFT is a primitive, right? Like, and more specifically, we look at it as a content primitive. We look at it as, primitives for multiple things. And in that case, we might not have like one standard to rule them all, right? So there might be a variation in native standards, if that is first. Shane obviously designed, the CW721 standard, which is almost similar to the ERC721 standard. And, some of the other chains that utilize it, like Solana's Metaplex standard and so on and so forth. So that is another aspect. So do chains actually, have to have like a CosmWasm module and an EVM module, within their chain to be able to transfer? Or, will we have like standard relay, transformation at a IBC module / relay, level? So some of the technical challenges around these are, these are the technical challenges. But, through consensus, through, social engineering, or, with everyone coming together, there might be a few more things that are possible, right? Like with everyone utilizing the CW721, that can become a standard for NFTs. Choose to go ahead and implement native NFT standards, right? That can also be a case. So there are multiple ways in which this approach is being analyzed, and we've had various people utilize different approaches. So we have Terra, Juno, of course, Secret utilizing Stargaze, utilizing CosmWasm, while we have, some of the others like Iris, BSN, and so on and so forth, utilizing native standards. Now, with the Theta upgrade, we'll have a module, that might set a base standard for Cosmos native chains or SDK based chains to, utilize NFTs. So there are multiple approaches, and, we are still analyzing, while, we couldn't wait no longer, and had to build our native standard to be able to work on rights and so on and so forth. So tomorrow, a CW721 or an ERC721 can come down, utilize the ONFT protocol, just like how maybe an Ethereum token can utilize osmosis, in some sense. So yeah, that is those are our views on that. Of course, there's research going on both sides, CosmWasm as well as the native, side of things. But yeah, I don't see like a problem now, but at the same time needs a lot of work. So it might take a quarter or two, to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Just to kind of fill in a little bit. Yeah. So right now there's the ICS 721 standard for IBC NFT transfers, and that's pretty much almost finalized. It's not merged in yet, but it's pretty much almost done. And we've been working on a CosmWasm implementation of that to be able to transfer NFTs between CosmWasm chains. But it can also work to SDK chains too. So you'll be able to transfer an NFT from a CosmWasm chain to an SDK chain, and vice versa. We're getting the implementation ready, so when the standard is ready, we can get it out there. But in the perspective of Stargaze, like we're kind of building out what the community wants, right? And obviously all the Cosmos people want IBC NFTs, but the community wants like minting tools and other stuff, right? So we're kind of like building stuff in order. So we do have like the IBC NFT stuff in the works, and at some point we're probably going to do a demo. We're probably going to launch the IBC contract on Juno and have one on Stargaze and kind of demonstrate that working. But yeah, eventually it'll be amazing to have this like IBC connected, like NFT kind of network where you can like imagine like a game or something where you have like you can have the hidden items or something on Secret Network, right? And we're going to have some kind of form of NFT staking at some point. So if you want to earn yield on it, maybe you can have it on Stargaze. So and then maybe you can sell it on Omniflix. Like you can have all these like connections between the chains, which I think will be super cool. And this year, that stuff is definitely coming, right? And the important thing is everyone has to try to implement the same standard. So that's going to be a challenge. Right. So, hopefully we can chat about this at some point, and, with the secret people as well, and maybe Terra, and, Terra also kind of speaks some variation of CW721. So the important thing is to keep the standard really simple so everyone can just like adopt it.
Exactly.
Awesome, yeah. I think everyone's really looking forward to that NFT ecosystem on Cosmos being born, and we're seeing it now, just weeks away. So, yeah, really exciting. So the actual reason why this format exists, and unfortunately Jack had to leave, but Jack and I, we get a lot of messages from people that were like, hey, what do you think, about Atom and the Cosmos Hub, and is it dead? Is anybody still working on it? And a lot of people were not really aware of what's the role of the Cosmos Hub as a chain, and Atom as a token within this entire Cosmoverse, right? Because now you have chains being established left and right? Osmosis gained a lot of traction, and Terra, and now Stargaze is coming up, Omniflix. So it would be cool to hear your views on how do you think the Cosmos Hub and Atom are positioned as of today, and where you see it going in the longer term. And maybe Shane, you can share your views first if you want.
Sure, yeah. So right now, the biggest value proposition for Atom is the on-ramp into this ecosystem, right? It's really the only one available in centralized exchanges. And if people want to join the Cosmos ecosystem, that's mainly the on-ramp for a lot of people. So a lot of retail people are coming in that way. So that itself is a massive amount of value. Just having just that one feature, right? But I'm really excited about what's coming up. Interchain, shared security, interchain accounts. So recently, Stargaze and Osmosis did this kind of like token swap thing. So for our LBP, we borrowed some Osmo, and then we did the LBP, and then transferred some funds back. And that whole process was like, I don't know, 12 transactions or something like that, and involved like multiple multi-sigs and things like that. And after interchain accounts, it just really simplifies that kind of stuff. And then you'll have really interesting things where like the community pools on each chains will be able to do like token swaps with each other, and more like treasury diversification type stuff, and have governance like really more involved between all the chains. That's kind of like the next iteration of the Cosmos Hub, and with the new upgrades that are coming up. So that's I'm really excited about that future.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sistla, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So personally, as Shane rightly mentioned, it is like the gateway, right? Like Atom is the only token that's probably available on the on almost all exchanges. And even when I talk to people to onboard them into the ecosystem, either I send them Atom or Osmo to get them started within the ecosystem. So these are some of the things that have worked out well. So I think this keeps evolving from time to time, and with again interchain shared security, interchain staking. Yes, those in yesterday's Twitter Spaces, I think Billy also mentioned the 3 pillars, right? So I won't go into that, but again, definitely these are the railroads that are being built. But eventually there can be governance gated contracts. We might expect to see an Agoric or a Cosmosm right on the chain, and so on and so forth. Or these can all be sovereign chains as well, right? But governance can be a lot more involved going forward. The way it is active right now on some of the other sovereign chains, right? The Cosmos Hub, or the chain that is powered by Atom, can also have a lot more governance in being able to utilize all these features in a timely fashion without actually monopolizing innovation. So if there are things that if people are mandated to do, that is not probably what builders in the Cosmos ecosystem would prefer to be involved, because if that were the case, people would have gone to another networks and so on and so forth. But the beauty of Cosmos is, without actually mandating or regulating, or regulating in rent seeking mechanisms and so on and so forth, it still derives value just by being the token as the gateway, Atom the token as the gateway, as well as Cosmos Hub, which actually helps build all of this infrastructure, can be a classic case of of tooling or infrastructure for a DAO. So a single DAO can just fork and then run starport and then implement and just start functioning. So this is what we believe, Atom as a token, and Cosmos Hub as infrastructure will power.
Yeah, and I think you also said this 2 weeks ago in a chat. Somebody had a question that NFTs on Omniflix will be also packed to Atom, right? There will be also Atom trades enabled on Omniflix. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that fits into the theory that Atom is the base money of the Cosmos ecosystem.
Correct. I mean, we are all aware that there are a lot of Atom holders that have until now you have not utilized Atom anywhere else other than either to stake, participate in governance, or on Osmo, right? So these were some of the primary things that were possible with Atom. Now, to give Atom the token more utility, of course, we have community building exercises through airdrops and so on and so forth. But at the same time, what we thought of was, Atom can be, and this is not just specific to Atom, but at the same time, we're looking at the Atom community as a community that can potentially, utilize Atom to purchase NFTs on a different network like Omniflix. I think eventually, Juno, Stargaze, everyone will be able to support the infrastructure there. And slowly, this is how we intend to onboard the community. The specific point that I mentioned was there is a very high possibility that we need not actually launch Flix the token, right? We are taking inspiration from some of the other projects as well as Stargaze in that sense, to get it right, the exact step-by-step process right, so that on LBP day, there is no external sell pressure and things like that. We've seen multiple networks launch, and we've gained some so hence, even before we actually have Flix the token liquid trading and like accessible to buy NFTs with, we have the ability to be able to bring on board Atom the token into the Omniflix network and bootstrap this entire infrastructure. So you need not have your own token. Even on Juno, you can write a contract and get sales, only in Atom, right? So those are some of the things that are possible. It is up to the builders to choose, how best they intend to build the community, right? So yeah.
Shane, do you have any thoughts on that as kind of like Atom as base money of the Cosmos ecosystem, or what are your views on that?
Yeah. I think pricing NFTs in Atom really makes sense, and in the context of Stargaze, that's something that may happen in the future. It's just that initially, we're focused on bringing value to the Stars token and also like native functionality in Stargaze, and then but we also did a massive airdrop to Atom holders, and it's just a really great like bootstrapping token. I mean, the ecosystem as it exists right now wouldn't be there if it weren't for their airdrops to Atom holders, and it's just like amazing to see this like community kind of like sprout out from that. And but I think it's gonna start changing though eventually, because not every project can just keep doing airdrops, right?
Yeah.
And the more you kind of do that, it just dilutes like the entire ecosystem, right? But there's gonna be like some kind of tipping point where like that's gonna stop having like an effect at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Cryptocito. Just sorry, a small point.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point in time, community's expectations of an airdrop for any new project being released is so much that builders are bullied into actually giving an airdrop. I think that can happen. So there are many.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's like you're giving away so much free money, and people want even more, and they get mad that you're not giving them any free money.
Cosmos is doing 40% of the Genesis supply, 40. Like, and I think, and people are complaining about it. Like, oh my God, it's for too many users. It's too little money that I get personally. But
it's really strange, like coming from the Web 2 world where you made free products, right? And people are very, very demanding about free products. And now you're coming to a space where you're giving away free money, and people are being even more demanding about that they didn't get enough free money. And it's a little dangerous, because you'll get the end state for this is the project will give out all their tokens, and then they won't have enough for their own operations. So you kind of had to really balance stuff out.
Yeah.
And you also have to make it in a way. I mean, you did this really nicely with Stargaze. Like you first launched the chain, and then there was a proposal to activate the airdrop distribution, right? And it was also in parts because you have to actually also educate people that, hey, Stargaze, Omniflix, Sommelier are layer ones, right? So you actually have to stake the token. It's a staking token. You can participate in governance. You can provide liquidity. There's like different things you can do. It's not just a smart contract and a token that doesn't have any kind of like intrinsic utility within the protocol. So I think for multiple reasons, airdrop makes sense on a like user bootstrapping perspective, not just, and I keep saying this on my videos, I do a lot of videos about airdrops because so many people ask me. But when I do that, I tell people, guys, this is not to make us rich, right? This is not to like, give free people free money to the community so you can sell it and go move to the Bahamas. This is just for to bootstrap the community, get people that are genuinely interested and in using the product, maybe building something around it, on top of it, or whatever. So I hope everyone here in this chat at least is aware of this and doesn't complain. I mean, I had people complaining about the airdrop dollar value being too low, so they don't even want to claim it. It's like it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I think, as you say, these airdrops, they can't go on forever. At one point, it will be saturated and there will be too many projects. And I think there's also going to be an explosion of chains in Cosmos, some of which might not be that innovative, right? Right now, we're still at the very beginning. So Stargaze, Omniflix, those are like blue chips, kind of like powerhouses in the NFT space. And you have a lot of exciting stuff going on in DeFi, and now the Ethereum bridging is going on full swing with Evmos and the Gravity Bridge chain and all these things. So this side of kind of like Atom's utility as being the source of extracting, the first community or bootstrapping the community might not be the most sustainable, at least in a very long term. Maybe it can go on for another 1, 2, 3 years. But where do you see then the Atom and Cosmos Hub positioning, let's say 5-10 years from now? You already talked a little bit about interchain security. What other things do you think could be kind of like in the Cosmos Hub's positioning that no other chain has in the Cosmos ecosystem?
Back in the day, Jaquan has talked about this a lot, where just the technology that Cosmos is building provides a lot of value without having to build specific like mechanics around bringing value to the token, right? So if you create this internet of blockchains and everyone's using IBC, and you have specific features like the hub router as well, right? When we bring more and more chains on, the hub router will play a big part. But even without that, just creating this internet of blockchains will bring value to Atom just because of the tech stack, just because like everyone is using that, right? And you want to, bugs have to be fixed, software has to be maintained. So even without like specific features, I think it still brings value to the token. But that's like harder to measure, right? It's not something you can like put on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, like even from my perspective, I personally think that infrastructure, that's like the key word here. All the tools, all the sovereign chains that are being built within the Cosmos ecosystem have in some or the other way sprung out of like the Cosmos Hub efforts. So keeping that aspect in mind, we believe like Cosmos Hub will be like, should position itself as the hub with the, might not be with the best tech, with a modeling of the tech that can exist as a hub, where it can work with other chains, provide services. These are shifting goalposts. 5 to 10 years from now, there might be other types of infra. Today, no one's talking about supply chain. Today, no one's talking about like, real world implementations of blockchain in some sense, right? Like, of course, we're all crypto native, but still, when we go out, talk to studios, they're like, some things can be done, without the chain. Why don't we just do it that way? There are some things we choose not to do on the chain. Not everything needs to go on the chain. But at the same time, there are these, changes in perspectives and so on and so forth. once when everyone like converts or has been baptized in some sense, right? So we'll be in a position to expose this infra in such a way that like how WordPress works today, right? Click click click, build, and you do your own work. And this is what like Cosmos Hub can be unique, with Starport, with so many other infrastructure tooling that is being built. So in some way it aligns with what Shane said. But bottom line, personally, I think it is infrastructure that will eventually add value to Atom.
Yeah, exactly. Just so much work goes into launching a chain that if Hub can like provide all the tooling, just like Starport, interchain security, then the devs can just focus on just their protocol or just on their product without having to do all this infrastructure stuff, right? Like on Ethereum, you just had to deploy a smart contract, right? It's so easy, and a lot of people coming from Ethereum like don't understand why it's taking longer to do things in Cosmos. The reason it takes longer is because you have a validator set, you have to run relayers, you have to keep all this stuff up and running. You need monitoring tools. You need just so much stuff, right? This is where the Hub comes in to provide all this tooling. So maybe at some point it will be as easy as deploying a smart contract.
Yeah, and Shane, you just mentioned Jay Kwan, who is one of the two original founders of Cosmos. I'm actually in talks with him, trying to get him on my channel. So let's see.
You really should.
Yeah, this is gonna happen. I think there's so much that we can learn from him. I'm really curious to hear his views on how he thinks Cosmos has evolved over the years and his new project that he's working on with GNOLand. But yeah, Sistla, you talked about, also you mentioned this earlier, what Billy said yesterday, which by the way, everybody should tune in Wednesdays, evening time. I think we don't have a fixed time yet. I think it's 6, 7 p.m. CET, where we talk on Twitter about the Cosmos Hub. And yesterday was an incredible session. Billy's just so well in articulating and explaining things so that everyone can understand it. And it's really, really amazing. He talked about these 3 pillars, right, that Atom has as use cases in the Cosmos ecosystem: public goods, monetary policy, I think, and interchain services, right? And I personally think the interchain services one, I mean, obviously all of them are really, really big, but especially interchain services, because then you would kind of directly benefit from a rising IBC adoption, right? As more chains gain traction and IBC proves to be predominant inter-blockchain communication protocol out there and compatibility standard. So that's really exciting. In terms of interchain security, is that something that would make sense for either of your projects to also use and to kind of implement to further secure the chain, or is that too far out?
Okay, I'll go first. We understood the concept. We thought of a few things, did some research, and there was a small hackathon project that we worked on called StreamPay, or for streaming payments. So you can send tokens block by block continuously, or maybe just like how the Cosmos Hub does in a delayed fashion, or Cosmos SDK does in a delayed fashion. So you can schedule a payment and so on and so forth. We think of this as the infra for creators. That's like Omniflix's perspective. But tomorrow there can be another chain that might just want to utilize this aspect. Then we don't expect them to install the module and things like that. So we saw a utility right away with one of our infrastructure elements for streaming payments, which if it happens on the Omniflix chain might cause, if not optimized well, it might cause issues like the osmosis epoch issue, but at almost every block, if we have a lot of traction for streaming payments, right? So keeping things like that in mind, we saw that interchain security as a use case where the Omniflix Hub could potentially secure a chain, for streaming payments, right? So this was how we believed. This was one very technical and protocol level implementation. While when we were talking to multiple studios and record labels, the standard pitch there was, Omniflix will build all the infra, that you might need, and you can just launch your own sovereign chain with your own private, media files as NFTs, record data, and so on and so forth, where all rights are managed on their chain, which is again secured by the hub. And it'll become like a Polkadot parachain slot model, but at the same time, in that sense, it can't be avoided. So we only have like certain finite bandwidth. So we are planning on things like that, and we are very closely exploring Celestia as well. Sometimes, I think someone on Twitter also mentioned this. For everything, eventually it'll go back to Celestia being an answer, right? So that might not be true in most cases, but that's how sometimes it feels. So there are a lot of things that we think will be possible with interchain accounts and then interchain security. These are two independent important things.
Very nice.
In our case, we definitely want to explore interchain security when it comes out. I think it makes sense to have some form of that. We have our own validator set right now, but it doesn't compare to the security of the hub, and it'll help bring some alignment with Atom.
Nice. Yeah, really exciting. I think yesterday the Informal team published a new update on interchain security. So everyone, please check that out. I think we can do some questions before we jump off. There's 120 people watching right now live. So let's take some questions. There's a lot of questions on Twitter, but also you can drop them in the chat right now, so we can bring them on. Ted is asking on Twitter, what are your guys' favorite projects that you've seen in your community so far? Maybe Shane, you can start since you guys are already out there.
Oh, I don't want to favor any projects, any of the NFT projects. There's all kinds of projects. There's like PFP projects, there's generative art, and there's like play to earn games that are being built on top of Stargaze right now. To me, it's just amazing to be able to build something that others can build on top of. Right. So all the projects that are launching on it are like kind of like babies of Stargaze. So it's just you can't pick a favorite child, right? So it's kind of like the same thing. In terms of NFTs though, I'm personally a fan of generative art. So I'm excited about maybe doing some myself and checking out some of those projects. But now is the community's project, right? It's bigger than me, it's bigger than everyone. Is bigger than the core team, so it's I'm excited for all the projects that are launching and want to help them out any way I can.
Sistla, how about you?
We're talking to people, definitely, as Shane rightly pointed out. It has been hard even for us to manage the kind of relationship with the project, because you can't be too deep involved where you're part of their core team. At the same time, there can't be, you'll have to handhold them in some way, because standards for building on top of Omniflix are still not set. On the UI side, it is easy and so on and so forth, but there is a lot of potential, and for creators to help them realize all that potential, there is some handholding required. So that is happening right now. But like from Omniflix, the perspective of Omniflix, the most interesting aspect would be, or the most interesting type of projects would be the ones that, actually incorporate the concept of rights and licensing within the NFT itself. So there is, it's not just about, art having utility in terms of, being an access token, right? Like for a Discord server and things like that. Of course, that is very much needed right now, and Staribot and team are working on it. But at the same time, that's not just the only way in which you can utilize or monetize your asset. And from traditional media industry, they do some things quite well. We learned that, and then we are making sure this infrastructure is available for everyone. That earlier, traditional infra is only available for like select few, who have access, who have connects, relationships. But in this case, that part can be democratized. And my personal favorites would be the ones that incorporate rights in some way, and be able to make use of all the infra available to them.
One question I also get a lot over the past couple of weeks, and also I think as we move forward, it would be good to clear this out, is what are actually the core differences between Omniflix and Stargaze? Because I think for some people it sounds very, very similar on many levels. So if you could clear that once and for all, I think it would be helpful.
Okay, I'll take that, Shane. So, or I'll take that first. So, from OmniFlix standpoint, what we built is a marketplace, as Shane at the start of this call mentioned, right? Like, from coming from that creator-centric standpoint, we first built the media tech around what should be possible, like broadcast tech, event infrastructure for events, be it a Twitter space or a metaverse party, things like that, and then moved on to be able to build that marketplace module and interfaces around that. So that, we still believe that we are not just a marketplace, although on the Cosmos categorization, I think we are still categorized as a marketplace, in list of projects. But at the same time, we believe we are more than a marketplace. We are just building the base infra. So, maybe, or not maybe. So the kind of apps that can be built are, you can Cito, you can build a publishing platform for your channel, right? Like to be able to publish videos, be it a record label, be it a studio, be it an independent creator, be it a DAO, media DAO, things like that. So these are some of the infrastructure elements that we are working on. And from a tooling standpoint, right? Like if I'll have to compare, right? An NFT minted on Stargaze can eventually, be bought in secondary or minted, or, it can be anything, can move over to the OmniFlix chain, utilize the protocol, for maybe whatever it offers, rights, content pools or NFT pools and things like that. And eventually, do something else and go back. So this is the model in which we are building. While, and from a technical, standpoint, we are currently working on a native standard of NFT. That is like one core difference that I can share. But Shane, would love to know your thoughts. I saw you some point answer this on Telegram as well. Stargaze Telegram, someone asked and we both chatted. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so first of all, I want to say, like, it's such early days for these projects, right? If you look on Solana, if you look on Ethereum, there's multiple marketplaces, multiple launch pads, and even if you look on Terra, there's multiple NFT projects, and it's super, super early. I think it's like the amount of people that own an NFT is, I don't know, is something like 0.003 or something like that. We're so early in this space. But that said, like our philosophy is a little different. So like if you look at OpenSea, right? They don't build everything. They just have a secondary marketplace, right? And then then is the community, is other companies, is other protocols, other tooling that kind of like build on top of it, right? And on Ethereum, you kind of see this where you have like, if you wanted to like mint a CryptoPunk in the early days, you went to Lava Labs, you didn't go to OpenSea, right? So our philosophy is that if you try to build everything, you won't do every single thing that well, right? So we're kind of we're building a launch pad because there really isn't any other option right now in Cosmosm. But our focus is going to be on the marketplace, and we're gonna have a hackathon, later on for people to build like more minting tools and kind of more launching tools and stuff like that. And we really want to like build an ecosystem and community to build on top of Stargaze. And then the core team can only have like one focus, and then everything else just kind of takes a life of its own. And we want to like kind of help kind of kickstart that instead of trying to build everything in house. So that's kind of our philosophy on it.
Yeah. So the way I see it, we got Jack back. Jack is back. Is your call over? Do you have alpha to share now?
Jack's back. I was supposed to be on a call with Sistla right now, and I was like, Sizzle's late, so I might as well just go jump back on. Anyway, don't let me interrupt.
No, I think we can take 2 more questions, and then Jack and Sistla, you can just take this space to do your call here publicly with the community if you want to. There was a question. Where is it gone? Lil Gains. Oh, here. So Ray's asking, how do you think the whole Cosmos ecosystem will attract more widespread adoption? Anybody can take this, whoever wants.
I think one of the huge ways is NFTs. And the 2 people driving that are literally on this call right now. So that's one huge part of the answer. I think another part of the answer is decentralizing core development of the different pieces of the Cosmos stack and ensuring that all of the different blockchains that make up Cosmos contribute to that. I think Sunny had a really cool tweet today about belikecrypto.com, contribute back to the SDK. And, Crypto.com have been great open source citizens. There's a lot of folks in the ecosystem as well. And I think two of them are sitting on this call again. And, me too, obviously, that really work hard to try to push all of our learnings out to the rest of the community and to share in this really, truly open source way. I think that we've done sort of an okay job of a community of managing that so far. But I think we need to take a big step up in terms of incorporating those changes into the core software and incorporating the needs of various chains more directly into the core development roadmap. And I think that this is splitting atoms. So we talk about the Cosmos Hub here. A lot of this development has been sort of funded by the Cosmos Hub, and right now we're in this time where the Cosmos Hub is sort of splitting off onto its own. It is focusing much more on its own roadmap, and it's leaving a lot of the core development effort in this really uncertain place. There's a lot of work, and I mentioned wish me luck. Call went great, so that's good. But I think that this is the first. That's going to be kind of the first step in coordinating as a community to maintain these public goods. I think that is how we get more adoption for this software that we all work on, is by making it more inclusive in some ways. So yeah, NFTs and inclusion in core development.
I think one thing that I love to see recently is there's so many memes on Cosmos on Twitter and everywhere. Basil had this idea that maybe we should build a meme marketplace, either in Stargaze or somewhere, where you can have the top 5, the top memes, and then people can also easily share that with everyone. Because I think memes are so randomly we bumped into Eric Voorhees a couple of weeks ago here in Tulum, or I'm right now in Playa, but in Tulum, and we sat on a table, we had dinner, and then somebody started talking about this meme. Which one was it? With cosmonaut, assemble cosmonauts, or I don't remember which one. And Eric was like, "Oh yeah, I saw that meme." And then Basil is like, "Oh yeah, I'm the one who made it," and it just went viral and had 2,000 likes, and everyone saw it. And I think that's a great thing, because then you have these memes and you see all these Cosmos logos and you don't even know what they are, and you start digging deeper and trying to find out, what these projects are. I think memes are also really, really huge, and especially in the past few weeks, along with airdrops, right? Jack, we forgot to ask you also about the sommelier airdrop, so we can.
Oh yeah, I should probably say something about that if you want me to.
Yeah. Share that, because that's another big one.
Yeah, we finally did the sommelier airdrop. I think, Zucky wanted to airdrop to the folks that we were looking to work with most closely, and that was liquidity providers. Sommelier is all about offering management services to people providing liquidity, and also looking to sort of make more complex financial instruments on top of blockchains. If you look at sort of what this is in the traditional banking system, it's called either a clearinghouse or a prime brokerage, but basically it's providing a more friendly and easily investable product out of things that are much more complex and harder to put together. We're starting with Uniswap V3. We're going to be launching products on top of Aave. That's kind of our next thing. And then in the future, as some of the IBC technology around IBC queries and interchain accounts matures, we'll be offering similar services on top of Osmosis. So that's kind of the broader vision of Sommelier. And the airdrop that we did was to people who are LPing and doing these activities that we want to help manage in a real way. So I think that when people talk about airdrops, it's really easy to forget what they are. And what they are is literally marketing spend. And I think that if you go to a traditional company and you say, what if you just give 10% of your company to the people who use it in the form of equity? They would say, A, you're crazy. Who would do that? And B, how could I possibly do that? Yet here in blockchain, it is the primary way of initial user adoption, and it helps us bootstrap. I think we saw this in the Web 2 world with Twitter and Facebook, and people trying to bootstrap off of those social graphs. And basically Twitter and Facebook shut down those avenues. Here in crypto, we've said, this is not only a legitimate business thing that we can do, but we should do it. And this is how you should reach your users. You know, Zucky and I are huge believers in that, and that's how we've chosen to bootstrap the SOM community too. So we're really excited. We'll be doing more farming and other opportunities to earn SOM tokens over the coming years, especially as the platform matures. We've got a lot of work to do to, you know, build in revenue capture for SOM token holders. There's some exciting work on community.somlier.finance. If you go check out the forum, we're talking about the tokenomics and the value capture model there. You know, I can sort of share at a high level what that is, but if you could imagine the Sommelier protocol, say like managing liquidity over on Uniswap v3, there are fees that accrue from that activity. The plan is to trade those fees that come in a bunch of different tokens into the SOM token, and then move those SOM tokens over the bridge and give them back to users. This sort of very directly ties the TVL on top of SOM to revenue for token holders, and also helps provide sort of a buyer of last resort for the SOM token as well. That's sort of in discussion right now, but please go check out community.somlier.finance. Some exciting stuff. Shamal Patel, our new product manager, is leading that effort right now, and really exciting stuff coming down the pipe.
And you did the airdrop for Osmo LPs, Uni V3 LPs, and early Sommelier users, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And was already distributed, or just the Osmosis LPs?
I'll have to check. I don't know if I've gotten through my Telegram this morning, but I think Zachy was saying that the I don't know. I know we got the Osmosis stuff out. That was kind of my part of the airdrop. We've been supporting that with the Go Relayer work that we do. We helped open the channel over at Osmosis and are relaying on that. Huge shout out to the Imperator team for also helping out there as well. IBC Relayer is strong. Yeah, and you know, also supporting that airdrop with Lens, which is the new sort of client SDK in Go that we're working on in collaboration with a number of other folks within the ecosystem. So that's the part I'm most excited about. I do know that execution on the ETH side of the airdrop is ongoing. We're going to do sort of a Merkle-based airdrop there. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a marketing spend also means that you want to be very mindful with, you know, who gets these tokens.
Yep.
Right? You don't want to just drop it randomly. And we talked about while you were off a lot and extensively about the airdrop dynamics and also what's the actual reason behind, right? Both Stargaze and Omniflix did airdrops. So yeah, and I think for everyone just to understand, like, it's important to understand, like, you shouldn't just buy Atom and hold it or stake it to get airdrops. This should probably be the first step to get you into the ecosystem, to start using these things, right? To get familiar with Kepler and set it up and play around with Osmosis and experience DeFi and soon we'll experience NFTs. So just I think acquisition strategy and benefits the entire ecosystem. That's also why I left this question open for so long, because airdrops is a big one, and I think we'll see more and more in the coming weeks, right? Nomic with the Bitcoin bridge, and there's more that's being leaked to me that I can't talk about yet, but we'll cover this in the coming weeks.
I think, you know, Cryptocito, just to tack onto that a little bit, you mentioned Kepler being this great onboarding tool, Osmosis being this great onboarding tool. It's something we've lacked for a really long time. And, you know, one of my favorite things to do is when I have a friend that's not crypto, just in my personal life, you know, relatives, friends from growing up, who reach out to me and they're like, I hear all this excitement about Cosmos and you've been telling me about this for years. How do I get involved? I try to just grab my Osmosis LP rewards for the day and send them over to the friend and be like, yo, just install Kepler, try Osmosis, and you can go play around with all this stuff I've been working on for the last few years. And, you know, I know that that's been sort of a main way that people did Bitcoin adoption. You know, you would sit down with somebody, grab their phone and say, hey, let me install a Bitcoin wallet for you here, and I'm going to send you some Bitcoin. And like, you know, this is also sort of like still today a great way to spread crypto adoption, and it happens in this kind of person-to-person way. And like, this is the power of the decentralized ecosystem, is that, you know, if each one of us grab 2 or 3 other people and, you know, say, hey, there's something cool out here, let me show you, it catches on really quickly.
Yep. I think we can wrap it up here. Yeah, I was just looking up some stats. I mean, Osmosis currently has 215,000 monthly active users, Cosmos 160, Stargaze 32. We're flying, and I think there's more coming, and we're just at the beginning. So thanks for being on. If there's any final things anybody wants to share, then feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'm thankful for your guys' time and all your knowledge and insights.
I think we're on track for our 50 million IBC transfers a month prediction, awesome, or whatever it was. Sorry, Shane, go for it.
No, I just said that's just amazing. Yeah, the amount of volume that's going through IBC is just and like nothing major has happened yet. I mean, knock on wood.
I know, it's crazy pants.
Yeah, so much more to come. And one question that was asked, right, like what might increase the adoption of the ecosystem? Personally, I think interfaces, UIs, you know, there is a lot of power at the protocol layer. We are so amazed with that, like almost on a, you know, weekly basis, with all that shipping, all that's already there, all that can be done. So interfaces, I think, will play a key role. And we did not contribute to the SDK as OmniFlix. We did earlier with other projects, but as OmniFlix, we did not contribute to the SDK. But, you know, we played a role in contributing the UI and the interfaces. And we think things like these, you know, Cito, I think we'll also have to talk about, you know, the concept of a media DAO, where, like, you know, multiple community managers, you know, from across all the projects can come down, you know, together. This shouldn't be like a PR agency, but at the same time, this should be like the central, you know, this can be like the central place where information is coordinated and, you know, spread forward. Like, I really like the Today in Cosmos, you know, thread. And, you know, the other day I saw one and it felt really nostalgic, because that was a time when we had a lot of, even then, like the amount of effort that goes into curating all that information on a daily basis, that was just splendid. You know, Adriana, Daniela, the entire Today in Cosmos team, like all the translators, like they did a great job. And, you know, things like those, you know, these are possible today. You know, you don't need, you know, a lot of tech for that. So, you know, we should be able to pull some things off like this as well. And, you know, I just created something on DAO yesterday. So we'll see how that goes.
It's just a great point.
Yeah, and speaking of, you know, Adriana and Daniela, they do so much work behind the scenes. So just like shout out to them.
Daniela is leaving her cat paws all over the Cosmos. I still see her just crushing.
Yeah.
You know, the Osmosis marketing DAO is, I think, an interesting model for a way forward. And, you know, that's I look forward to seeing a lot of other chains out there. There's a lot of community members who would love to work in this space, but don't have relevant experience to do the sort of core development that is needed. So finding more money for those sorts of community management and marketing activities is going to be a key part of the next 3 to 6 months, I think. So if you want to do it, you know, the skills that you need are to organize and inspire people. And if you can do that, you can get governance proposals passed and set up organizations. And, you know, this is a great space for entrepreneurs right now.
Yeah. I'm regularly doing Twitter spaces also makes sense. You know, just that consistently every fucking
Cito rocking the sick Cosmos Twitter spaces.
Yeah.
I've jumped in a couple, and every time I jump in, I'm like, fucking strong energy in here. Let's go.
Man, there's Little Gains, who's also right now in the chat. Little Gains, let me check his Twitter.
I think they're doing the IBC gang
with 2Z in the end. Yeah, they're doing IBC lounges. Like, I mean, last week I think it was like almost every day, and it's not just like for 35 minutes. It's like 4 or 5 hours, and
was
it's like crazy. So and everyone comes on, everyone asks questions. No matter it's like, oh, I just heard about Huawei last week. What's this Atom thing? It's also like deep stuff. Sometimes Sunny came on. I think all of you have at least been in there. I see Sistla was there, Jack was there. I don't know if Shani, if you've seen it yet. Zaki was there. Like a lot of people just jump on and share what they're working on, what they're doing, and it's really, really cool to see that. And with Billy, we're trying to revive now this Cosmos Hub discussions on Twitter as well from the Cosmos Hub Twitter account, because there's a separate Cosmos Hub Twitter account. I think most people haven't even been aware of that. So we're trying to revive that as well. Yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. We're almost 1 hour and a half. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming on. Thanks for all your questions. There's been consistently 120, 130 people in it.
Awesome. Cito, thank you again for hosting. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Cito.
Yeah, thank you, Cito. It was great and look forward to doing more.
Yeah, always, man, always. Take care, guys. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.